Hey VC, John here, just back from holiday, came back 2 days ago. This is our third day back actually. It's lovely weather. I've been working in the field most of today, on and off really. Clearing hedges, trying to just make it a bit tidier with the onset of winter. We're having some more chickens next week as well, so I've got to do something to segregate them so they can get friendly with the existing ones we've got before we let them all in together. But anyway, I've got a question for you. It's not a competition, by the way. What has Dean Jordon and my late, much missed and much loved Auntie Betty got in common? Do you give up? Has anybody got it? Well, the answer is actually Kurt Cobain. So you've got to think outside the box for these guys, these questions, guys. I could have put a competition together there, I think, because I don't think anybody would have ever got it. Anyway, the reason is this. Yesterday, Dean put on Facebook, or the day before, that he was sending out some VCLT, but he didn't say who it was to, and I did spot it on Facebook, but I never thought twice about it. And then we're sitting outside having breakfast, because it was just warm enough for that, and heard the doorbell go, and my son answered the door, and it was a package for me, and I spotted it was from Loughborough, so I immediately put two and two together, and I actually did get four. Dean lives probably about 40 miles from me, over sort of that away. Although we haven't met, we've corresponded quite a few times. Now, I wasn't expecting it, and I felt a bit guilty after, because I thanked Dean immediately as soon as I got the opportunity, and he said, "Oh, did you do a video opening it?" And I didn't. I don't normally. I've only done it once, and that was when I got something a couple of weeks ago from Brett. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and keep, whilst thanking Dean at the same time, and I'm massively grateful. This is a hugely generous package which I haven't shown you yet. I'm going to talk about one of the albums, and then I'm going to read a review of the other album which I haven't listened to, and then I'm going to show you, I'm going to open it because it should look quite good. So I opened up the package, and the first thing I pulled out was a note from Dean, which I immediately read, and it was I say the generosity really just blew me away. It wasn't necessary to send me anything, but I'm really glad he did. So the first thing I pulled out was this album. Everybody will recognise it, Nirvana, Unplugged in New York. And I'll talk about it a little bit in a minute. The connection between Dean and my aunt was that for Christmas 1994 she bought me this. She died 8 years ago, and it's a great album. Whenever I listen to it, it reminds me of her, but I did want to have it on vinyl, and Dean must have picked up on a comment I made on somebody else was sharing, I can't remember who it was, and I said, "Oh, it's a great album." The really unusual thing about it is it's the only band of which I'm aware, that I can think of, where my favourite album of theirs is a live album. I'm not a massive fan of live albums normally. I think there are one or two really good examples. Live at Leeds by The Who being one, Bruce Springsteen live in New York, and this. Now, I'm going to tell you a few details about this. Firstly, it was recorded on, if I can find my notes, if I can't, I'll just have to try and get some. It was recorded on November the 18th, 1993, at the Sony Music Studios in New York, and it was shown about that time. Now, everybody know, or many people know, that Kurt Cobain committed suicide in April 1994. As an album, it was released on the 1st of November 1994. There had been an intention to include it as part of a bigger package, but the band were too traumatised to actually put the rest of the material together, so this was the only complete thing that they got. So they released it as an album. Now, in my opinion, it doesn't have a bad track on it. It's mainly Nirvana albums, but not exclusively so, and there's just a couple on there that I want to draw your attention to. But the first two tracks are About a Girl and Come As You Are. About a Girl was released as a single from this album, so it's a live single. The next two tracks are Jesus Doesn't Want Me for a Sunbeam, which is actually a song by a Scottish band called the Vaselines, and Cobain was a massive fan of that band, which were quite short-lived really. They've only ever done two studio albums, one called Dum Dum, which came out, I think that came out in '89, and then they did this one in 2010, which I actually got a copy of. And I think Nirvana did another cover of this called Molly's Lips as well. But for me, probably the standout track on there is The Man Who Sold the World, which is a David Bowie song. I remember it from when I first started getting into music when I was about 10 as a cover version done by Lulu. But it's one of those songs that I think are great. A song which is a great song is one which can be covered in many different ways by many different people, and there's some examples of that being one being Love Will Tear Us Apart by New Order, Paul Young, June Tabor, sorry, not New Order, Joy Division, Joy Division's version itself, but it's just a superb song. There are other examples of songs which can be covered by. Another example is Paul Young seems to be a bit of an expert at selecting these. Wherever I Lay My Heart, That's My Home, by Marvin Gaye originally. And if you ever happen to spot the original release, which was withdrawn, of the album from which The Man Who Sold the World, David Bowie, came from, which is also called The Man Who Sold the World, and he's on the front of it and he's wearing a dress, if you spot it for a £5, make sure you buy it and get out as quick as you can, because it's worth a fortune. So that was Nirvana Unplugged. I've listened to it through. My wife, while having breakfast, my wife said, "So who sent you these?" I said, "He's a chap called Dean, I'm sort of friends with on Facebook and the VC." She says, "Well, he's a generous person, and I cannot." Well, that says it all to me. The second album is that Dean sent me was this, and this really blew me away, because this is Ian McCulloch's Holy Ghost, which was released in April this year, and I'd spotted it a few times, and the vinyl is limited to 500 copies worldwide. Now, I have bought something else new by Ian McCulloch earlier this year, and if you remember that on Record Store Day I actually picked up a copy of Crocodiles. In fact, I didn't get it on Record Store Day. I couldn't get there because I was away. The proprietor of the shop put it to one side. Oops, no, you're not supposed to do that. But this is Crocodiles by, it's a 1980 album by Echo and the Bunnymen. And again, you may recall that Harry and I saw Echo and the Bunnymen supporting James at the O2 Academy in Birmingham in about the end of April. I think it was the end of April. That's a text from my son. We saw Echo and the Bunnymen and we thought they were excellent, and it would have been one of those great club venue gigs if James hadn't been so absolutely outstanding, and that was one of the all-time favourite gigs I've ever been at. So it sort of put Echo and the Bunnymen into a not a great light. So this album is called Holy Ghosts, and it's a double CD, or it's a triple vinyl, and the vinyl is split into two discs which are orchestral reworks from the Reunion Chapel. So they are songs from McCulloch's past, many Echo and the Bunnymen songs. So let's have a look what we've got on there. We've got things like I should have put my glasses on here. Bring on the Dancing Horses, Rescue, the Idleness of Gods, but it's from his back catalogue. Then there's a third album called Pro Patria Mori. Now, and I haven't listened to this and I haven't owned it yet. Now, Pro Patria Mori is from a Latin expression which is Dulce et decorum est pro patria mori, and it's something, a rough translation is it's great and sweet to die for your country. I actually know that expression, the Latin expression, quite well, simply because when I was doing English lit at school, we did the war poets, and a poem by Wilfred Owen from the First World War is called Dulce et decorum est, and it's great and sweet, and it's actually written in English. So apparently it's great and sweet to die for your country, which has got to be about the biggest load of rubbish that I've ever heard, and that was pretty much the gist of Wilfred Owen's poem. What I want to do is just read you this review which I found online today before I actually open the album, because there's something special about the vinyl. So just bear with me while I read you this. So it says, On receipt, I assume this was one of those, my new album with some of my old stuff, just in case you don't like the new one, and so you can remember who I am albums. I was wrong. What you actually have is the Holy Ghost package of 2 CDs. In a way, Ian McCulloch has slipped up here because each album is of such uncompromising quality that he could easily have made it 2 releases. Taking into consideration my incorrect assumption, I played Pro Patria Mori first. In short, it's an album of quite outstanding quality, incredibly catchy songs, emotionally brooding and stark. They will make you feel good and occasionally make you ponder. The opening lines of track 1, Different Times, complete with string section, are a case in point. Babies come and babies go, babies live and babies die. See what I mean? There are no holes barred on this. So I'm really looking forward to listening to this straight away from that. And then it says, several of the songs here could have nestled quite easily on Echo and the Bunnymen's undoubted finest moment, 1984's Ocean Rain. Surely one of the greatest albums ever made. Just let me scan down and I'll read you some more. Holy Ghost is a live album recorded almost 12 months ago at the Union Chapel in London, playing acoustic guitar himself and accompanied by Ian Broody, the Lightning Seeds, piano, keyboards and a 4-piece string section. He brings new dimensions to his own and Bunnymen classics through some superb orchestral reworkings. The PR notes the album say that the night was enchanting and Ian sang like a diamond. They weren't wrong. It was produced by Youth of Killing Joke and apparently supposed to be stunning. Bring on the Dancing Horses is given a completely new lease of life, as are Rescue, The Killing Moon and Lips Like Sugar. At least through those songs Echo and the Bunnymen did when Harry and I saw them. So without further ado, I'm now going to open this record, and I've just put the knife out of the way, so I will just pause there and start again here. So I've got a blade. I don't normally carry a blade, by the way. It's just a steak knife out of the kitchen, just in case anybody's worried. Right, let me just slip on the shrink, because I like to keep the shrink until I decide whether I'm going to keep it on or off. This is only a single album, it's not a gatefold, so I'll probably keep it on there just for additional protection. So what we have when we open it up, there's a code for the album, and then it's on Demon Records. Ian McCulloch on the front, looking dark and moody as he always is, and then we've got 3 nice inners: LP3, LP2, LP1. Right, let's have a look what this looks like. I know what it's supposed to look like, but I haven't looked inside. The static's keeping it in, but look at that, yellow vinyl. Now Dean did say to me that he thought it was only the yellow vinyl that's limited to. Look at that in this light as well. Let me just hold that up there. That's lovely. I would think that's probably about 120 gram vinyl. That is absolutely superb. That's LP1, so that's the first of the live at Union Chapel. And then this is LP2. I'll try and loosen it before taking it out. Oh, that's come out a lot easier. Look at that, superb, absolutely superb. And finally, let's have a look at number 3, which is actually Pro Patria Mori, and that came out dead easy. So, Dean, I sort of run out of words with these things sometimes when people send things for no other reason than it makes them feel good. However, I'm going to get you back, my friend, and it won't be immediately because I want to get it exactly right. I want to nail it just as well as you've done this. So, thanks, Dean. I couldn't be more appreciated. I'm really sorry I didn't do a live opening, but I should do it every time, really, and I'm going to sort of try and resolve to do that. So, thank you, my friend. I'm going to get you back.